episode is brought to you by members of the You Run Podcast Network. Dewey Pod Monster, Movies 4 Days, Pop Culture Reflections, Voices from the Mausoleum, You Gonna Eat That Crust, Video Tasties, The Ghoulish Gallery, The Girl and the Gay Podcast, The Horror Friendly Podcast, and The Aardvark and the Magic Moshi Do Red Dwarf. All available at yourunpodcast.com. Mark, I've got an actual joke for you today. So, a fly feels a bug on its back. And it says, "Hey bug, are you a mite?" He goes, "Might be." Then he goes, "Oh, that's the worst pun I've ever heard," said the fly. And the mite said, "Well, what do you expect? I come up with it on the fly."
Oh, fuck's sake.
You said you wanted them more cheesy.
I did, but there's got to be a balance somewhere. Do you know what I mean? That sounds like it was written by someone in kindergarten.
I think it was. I apologise.
Hey everyone, the You Run Podcast. It's the You Run Podcast.
You want to die tonight?
Scott, I think you know who the fuck this is that's talking.
Cancel Mark. I was terribly offended.
Because after all, this is not our show. This is your show.
Hello and welcome to the giant bug menace that is the You Run Podcast horror movie review. My name is Scott.
My name is Mark.
And we are your Sky Marshals for this intergalactic show. I was drunk when I wrote the notes for this week's show.
What is your distance with puns at the moment? You're just all over it.
So I've had a bad week at work this week. I had a day from hell on Wednesday. Wednesday night I had a few to drink. No, I had a lot to drink. And I sat down about 9 o'clock to write notes for this show and like puns and stuff like that and put my bullet points down.
But what is it in your mind that makes you think, I know what's going to make this a really good intro? I'm going to just throw a shit ton of puns in there and everyone's going to love it.
I just think it's kind of where we are as a show now. It's what people expect. I'm just giving the audience what they want. I
don't like the way that you're using the word we. I don't feel like I want any association with any of this.
Well, you are associated, but just through acquaintance, you're associated with the show. We are an interactive show offering you many ways to get involved, from 3-word reviews to TikTok talks to scoring the movie. We've got you completely covered.
Would you like to know more?
We are an interactive show offering you many ways to get involved, as I said. Oh, man.
Would you like to know more?
Well, that's good because I'm going to tell you more. And so is Mark. You can get in touch with us at yourunpodcast.com or by sending us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on all social medias. We're at yourunpodcast on all of them. To clarify, that's X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, Slasher, Facebook, and YouTube. You can also give Mark a follow on Instagram only. He's VHS from the Crypt, and he is Reviews from the Crypt. One, you can be in awe of his incredible collection that's very expensive. And the other, you can watch him review horror movies.
Would you like to know more?
But as has always been the case, the best way to get in touch with us is to record us a voicemail. You can do that by sending us an audio DM. You could do that really, really easy. So all you need to do is you need to head to any social media that allows you to record an audio DM, record the audio DM, and we'll play it on the air. And we have one this week.
Oh, nice. It's been a...
And again, I've realised I've not dropped it into the episode, so I'm going to have to do it the old school way again, which is play it through the microphone. I apologise. I'm really disorganised at the moment. I've had a bad couple of weeks at work.
Too busy concentrating on puns. That's your problem.
Well, that's the thing. So the message we got is from, well, I'll just play the message. Here we go.
Hey guys, it's me, Mary, Lady Crisis. Yes, I am still alive, barely. I want to call in and say a couple things. Number one, Mark, congratulations on your 100th episode. I know that I am late. I did have good intentions to give you this message earlier, but life and mom mode got in the way. But congratulations on 100 episodes. I have been a huge fan of the show since the beginning, but since you joined, Mark, it's been even more entertaining. So we love listening to you guys. And as a duo, you guys rock. Second of all, I am in the middle of the Bone Tomahawk episode. I have not finished it because, like I said, things get in the way and it takes me like 3 days to finish an episode. But I am a true fan, so I will fucking finish the episode. Anyways, yeah, I'm listening to the Bone Tomahawk episode. And if you guys remember, I'm not sure if you remember or not, but I did watch this movie with my grandpa. He is a huge Western guy, so this was not as hard to convince him to watch, and we both really enjoyed it. I hope that you guys like the movie. So far, it sounds like you've got some good, reviews about it, so we'll see at the end. But question for your audience out there, because you guys have a big following, if anybody has any more Western type horror movies to recommend, I would love to know what they are, because Grandpa's going to be back in April. And I think that's more that's more like in his wheelhouse. So if I want to watch horror movies with him, I think I got to kind of go that route. So, yeah, if you have any recommendations from anybody, let me know. And yeah, you guys know that Heather is definitely coming for y'all. Excuse me. Because that Southern accent was horrendous. Anyway, still here. Bye.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you ever so much, Mary. That was very lovely of you to say. As regards to horror westerns, that is something I would also like to know the answer to. I'm not a big western guy, something I expressed on the Bone Tomahawk episode, but I really enjoyed that movie a lot. And there is certain westerns that I have seen, or at least period pieces similar to that I did enjoy. Like Last of the Mohicans is one of the all-time greats, and I absolutely love that movie. Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner, amazing. I like that movie as well. So there is movies out there that I do enjoy. I just don't like the whole gunslinging Back to the Future 3 kind of westerns. So like if there is some that have the horror element adjacent stuff that's going on with it, please let both me and Mary know, because I would like to watch them as well. And also, if she can watch them with her grandpa, that'd be amazing. But Mary, you have to video it. We have to see his reaction to these, because there is nothing more that I love than seeing grandpa come over and you make him endure a horror movie.
Grandpa's awesome, and he's such a good sport as well, because every time Mary's like, would you like to watch a horror movie? And in his face, you can see he's like, no, I really don't. I would rather go and shit in my hands and clap. But I will, because I love you. And then she makes him endure the most horrific horror movies. And after, just like, what did you think of that? And he's like, it's all right, wasn't it?
I wonder what it would take to get him to sit down and watch Terrifier 2.
Oh, God. I want some more Western suggestions. I want someone to tell me what movie I watched where it turns into a zombie movie at the end. No one's been able to work it out.
We still not heard.
No, I've had a few people make suggestions, and I've looked, I'm like, that's not it. But yeah, any suggestions for Mary, let me know. Drop me a DM and I'll send them straight on to her. If you send it in an audio message, we'll play it on the air as well. I have no memory of what this episode contains. As I said earlier, I wrote this in an inebriated state. I do know that it is Space Week. Today we are looking at an Oscar-nominated picture from the 90s. The true definition...
No fucking way was this Oscar-nominated.
It was. Wait till facts. It was. The true definition of she deserved better, and why the only good bug is a dead bug. We follow Rico, a privileged rich kid, as he pursues a prick tease into the military to get his little Johnny some attention. His path is fraught with perils, bondage, violins, big teeth, and war. With a supercast, ridiculous plot, outrageous amounts of space titties, the perfect movie for me to discover as a pubescent boy. If that mental image wasn't enough, here's the trailer for this week's movie, Starship Troopers.
I hope this trailer's as wild as the film.
So do I.
In every age, there is a cause worth fighting for. But in the future, the greatest threat to our survival will not be man at all. Hey, kid, what's going on? It's war! We're going to war! Now the youth of tomorrow must travel across the stars to defend our world.
We are a generation commanded by fate to defend humankind.
Everyone fights, no one quits.
We are going in with first wave. You smash the entire area. You kill anything that has more than 2 legs. You get me? We get you, sir!
But they will face an enemy more devastating than any ever imagined.
Incoming!
Mayday, this is Roughneck 2.
We're under attack, sir. We need retrieval now.
Someone made a damn mistake.
The bugs laid a trap for us, didn't they?
TriStar Pictures takes you to the front lines of the next frontier.
Kill them all!
Starship Troopers.
That trailer is dog shit.
I was just about to say the exact opposite. I think that would have made me go watch it.
Oh yeah, it would have definitely made me go and watch it, but I just feel like it's such a missed opportunity. Like there's some of the meta stuff that they do with like the infomercials and stuff throughout this film.
Yeah,
that should have been the trailer. Like
your
country needs you kind of thing. Like that would have been perfect. Like an enrollment kind of trailer would have been a lot better. But again, I suppose the context of it would have been a bit misleading. But that would have made me a lot happier to see that kind of trailer for this film. Another thing as well that I just noticed from that, this was directed by the guy who made RoboCop and Total Recall. This film makes a hell of a lot more sense to me now.
Did you not realize that when you
No, I didn't know that. I didn't do much research into this before the episode. I just watched the movie and just had a great time, and then I was like, come on, let's just thrash it out on the episode. But yeah, I didn't know it was the same guy who did RoboCop and Total Recall. That just makes everything make a little bit more sense to me.
Like, I want those to live in the same universe.
I can imagine somewhere down the line they possibly could tie in together.
Could you imagine a Starship Troopers, RoboCop, Total Recall crossover? Let's bring all the original cast back.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. You could sort of set it as like RoboCop being the first, Starship Troopers Part 2, and then Total Recall being the third in the series.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Put RoboCop on one of these bug planets to see how RoboCop does. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Yeah, you'd only need like Total Recall to have like Rico walk past Arnie. So you didn't even need him to be in it, just like a casual of him walking by on Mars.
Yeah, I'm fully in. Listeners score the movies here. What do you think they've gone with on this?
I'm going to say it's more in between like 3 and 4. I'm going to go with.
That's where I thought as well. No, 4.5 out of 5.
Wow.
Letterboxd score this a 3.8 out of 5. And Gladys, our AI companion, not a big fan of this. She's got it 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. I think 3.5 solid.
Yeah, it's solid, but it's not as high as her scores have been. Like recently, she's been like, it's a 5. It's a 5. I love these movies.
She's so like me. It's so annoying. The one thing I was going to say to you as well is I feel like lately we have been on a proper tangent where I'm like dishing out 5s and 4.5s like left, right, and center. There's got to be a break in it somewhere.
Yeah, we've had some really good movies picked by the listeners this year. Really, really good.
Yeah, but it's getting to the point where I'm questioning myself and I'm like, am I just throwing out wild scores for the sake of it? Surely we've got to have some duds somewhere.
There'll be duds coming. We can't do a year without a dud. So, hey.
No.
This show is spoiler heavy. We've given you all the information now that's not spoiler heavy. So here is your spoiler warning.
Zoinks! 3-word reviews, man!
That is not the right audio cue at all.
This is your spoiler warning.
I'm going to explain this shit to you like you're 5. Get your eyes checked. Read the damn episode title. I don't want to hear any bitching, any complaining about how, there's spoilers. No, read it. If you've not seen it, do not listen.
Thank you, Heather.
And also, thank you, Dave.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Both of you involved. I think it's safe to say that this movie bounces around a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's in space, it's on a planet, it's in space, it's on another planet. And you need to pay attention to what we're saying, otherwise you will be lost really quickly. There's also several news bulletins in this movie, which, firstly, they're incredible. Secondly, I'm not going to go through each individual bit of the ad. I'm going to mention them when they come up. We'll have a brief overview of them and we'll move on, because I think you and me could easily do a full episode just on those infomercials.
Yeah, and the thing is with this movie as well, like it's a 2 hour and 10 minute movie. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of exposition. There's a lot of build up. There's also a lot of subplots going up. There is a lot we could dive into, but it just wouldn't make for great listening. We need to just condense where we're going with this. Otherwise, it's just going to be a very strange episode, I think. And unless you've like watched it prior to listening to us talking about it, I don't think a lot of the stuff we would bring up would make an awful lot of sense to you.
It's going to be a weird episode anyway.
Regardless, yeah. But I mean, this is one of those films that I haven't seen since I was like preteen. So like, I remember watching this on repeat as a kid, but going into it for preparation for the show, I haven't watched this for maybe 20 years, maybe, or even longer. I don't know. I can't remember how old this film is, but I haven't. There was a big point in my life where I watched this consecutively every weekend for about a year. I haven't seen it since then. So I had no memory of any of the plot or what happened. I just remembered the bugs. I remembered
you remembered Rico. The bugs, and you remembered the shower scene. Don't try and avoid it.
I actually completely forgot all about the shower scene, and when it came up, I was like, "Oh, holy shit!"
Yeah,
I didn't realize it was this kind of movie.
This is an amazing scene. This is the best 5. It's a 5. That's where your scores are coming from. We open with one of these news segments, and these news segments are used throughout the movie to sort of dump exposition on us and fill gaps in the movie. So this one tells us that the government was overthrown by the Galactic War Veterans, is how they refer to them. And they installed this new military-style government. It's like a new regime, basically like a new global world order. And we also find out there's a bug planet throwing rocks at us from the other side of the Milky Way. Before catching up with a news anchor who's directly reporting from the front line where we've gone to attack these bugs. Creature design in this is epic.
Yeah, amazing. Like really good. And the effects especially are one of the biggest highlights for me, regardless of how naff some of them are. Some of them are naff for my enjoyment, which I'll get to when we dive into them.
Your man, Mr. Phil Tippett, was all over this movie.
I know, and that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's like the modeling and the miniatures and the stop motion stuff that they use to create the spaceships and things like that. Incredible, but it doesn't look great now. No. But it has that very much that. Do you know Red Dwarf? Do you watch Red Dwarf, or have you seen? Yeah. It has that Red Dwarf charm about it, where it's almost like very tin can-esque, if that makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah, it's very 1970s Star Wars.
Yeah,
which I really appreciate that. We see a soldier shout at the camera to run before turning, and we see him taken down and the camera shuts off. And then we get 1 year earlier on the screen. We cut to a classroom where we see 35-year-old men and women pretending to be 18. Like, they look
I'm glad you mentioned it.
Like, I'm looking at the guy who plays Rico, and honest to God, he looks the same age I do now.
Yeah.
And he's taking a maths class. It's like, what the fuck?
I've mentioned this on the show before. This is an American thing. This is purely an American thing where they cast, like, you remember the OC, you watched the OC?
Yeah.
Like, they were all supposed to be like 15, 16. No, every single actor who portrayed those characters was in like their mid-20s. Playing like 15, 16-year-olds. I don't know why it translates the way it does in America.
No, and I feel that it's important that I clarify that these are all older people, because it puts me in less of a bad light when I make comments later in this episode. We meet Johnny Rico, Carmen and Diz as they sit in a class. So Johnny and Carmen are a couple, and it's clear that Diz is really into Johnny. they're discussing the need to join the military to become a citizen with their teacher, Mr. Ratacek, who's Michael Ironside, and I think he's a great actor. I love this guy.
I love Ironside. Yeah, he's fantastic.
And they kind of like, they do the whole, why would you be a citizen? Oh, a citizen serves, and then like you serve in the military, and then you're a citizen, and then you can vote. And it's kind of like this regime that they're layering on this regime. We get some general school stuff, like futuristic stuff, where they're like using tablets to send each other messages instead of passing notes. And we get them collecting their math score, which is where we meet Carl. I love Carl. Carl's so good in this.
Carl is played by Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris, yeah, Doogie Howser. He's great in this.
Yeah, he's fantastic. I love him. I love his character quite a lot. I love everybody who plays who they are in this movie, to be honest with you.
Apart from Carmen.
Yeah, I'm going to get into Carmen later on. I'm going to save that for later because I have major beef with her, but not necessarily her as an actress or her as a
her
person
character.
in the movie. It's just the writing development throughout this film that I take big issue with. But it blew my mind to see stuff like the way that they use technology in this movie, such as simple things like them using the tablets back and forth. This is an actual thing now. This is very relevant. But at the time, it was so mind bending to even think that there was a possibility.
We'll have a tablet we could draw pictures on and send them to someone across the room. Never. That's never happening.
Never. No, but like now that is like so the norm to do things like that. Like my kid is 3 years old and already is better on technology than I am.
That's not hard, to be fair. You're still very much in the VHS era.
I'm a dinosaur. I just don't get it. I struggle massively with stuff like that.
Rico is not good at maths, which is shown quite clearly. They put all their math scores up on this board that you can see like how they've done. And it's Carl who puts his score up really big, and he's got 35%. Everyone's sort of clapping and laughing. We also see a science class where they dissect a giant bug on a table, and we find out that Carmen's really not good with gore because she goes and throws up. And Diz is really funny because she's a bit of a bitch, and I quite like that.
I love Diz. She's amazing.
Yeah, Carmen's saying about how she wants to join the Starfleet and you've got to have nerves of steel. And then when she throws up, Diz is like, yeah, there goes your nerves of steel. Well done. Bravo. We also find out that Carl has psychic powers and can control the thoughts of some animals, one being his ferret, his pet ferret called Cyrano, who he sends up the stairs to go and like run up his mum's leg. And I want to burn a fun fact before you say anything about this scene. That is a real life ferret that he really commanded to go upstairs. And how they done it, they had 2 ferret handlers in 2 separate places. And the ferret gets rewarded from getting from A to B. So he says, go away. And one of the handlers clicks a button. And the ferret kind of looks up and pays attention. And then someone else clicks a button and the ferret runs to the other button, which I just thought was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not insulting the intelligence of ferrets. My issue with this was that it was a misguided placement within the movie. Like they showcase this, and they showcase that Neil Patrick Harris's character has psychic abilities. He's trying to test Rico by showing him these cards, and he's supposed to be able to guess the card on the screen.
And he can't.
And he can't do it, which is just... It's so confusing. It makes very, very little sense up until about 25 minutes later, we finally get the exposition that explains to us that there are beings that have psychic abilities and they're being recruited by the, I don't know, what do you call them? The Starfleet.
Yeah.
The military Starfleet. They're like the higher required people to become part of this army. But it should have had that earlier on. It should have explained to us earlier on that these people were available and they were high requirement, and and then introduce the fact that he has this power and he is one of those people. And the annoying thing about this whole psychic thing is they show you this scene here of him doing it with the ferret. Yeah. And we get a minor like news bulletin about 20 minutes later. Yeah. And then we get nothing. We get nothing. It has nothing to do with the entire film up until the last 5 minutes. And I was like, I just spent the whole film sat there being like, well, something's got to be relevant with that. It's definitely going to come back in later on.
Yeah, and it plays a big part in later movies as well, a huge part in later movies, but
yeah,
we'll talk about that in facts as well. For some reason, in the future, they play American football on a five-a-side football pitch with a
And the only
silver.
thing that blew my mind about this is the only difference was the football was spray painted silver. I was like, oh yeah, very futuristic.
Johnny is a quarterback, and I'm not even going to try and explain American football. I don't understand it.
No.
But this is where he meets Xander for the first time, who's on the opposing team. And Xander shows a bit of interest in Carmen when he gets knocked into the crowd. And with that, Johnny does what any red-blooded, full of testosterone teen would do. He humbles him on the court by winning, then kissing his girl in front of him and sort of going, haha, fuck you.
And the thing about this is, like, great writing. And it would make a lot more sense if the actors were the age that they were playing. But the fact that most of these people are 30-year-old men, you just think, fucking grow up, dudes.
Yeah, I mean, Xander's got like crow's feet down the side of his eyes. He's so old.
He's clearly a 30-year-old man. And so is Casper. And you're looking at them and you're like, you should not be behaving like children at this point in your life. So, like, it's like a high school drama level stuff that just doesn't sit well with the actors that are portraying it.
Yeah, the following day, Johnny is revealed that he's a rich kid, and he tells his mum and dad that he's going to go and do a serve a term with the military, so he can be a citizen. I really like his dad's response to this, where his dad's like, "Look, I get it. You want to see the world, so I've booked trips to the Saturn rings, and you can go on Zegama Beach." 100%, that was the option I would have taken.
Yeah, and he thinks about it.
Yeah, it's like, do I go to the beach or do I join the military? But he does go to join the military.
But he only goes for Carmen because she's joining to be a pilot.
Yeah, he's following in the prick tease who's never given him any sex, which is a shame considering they're both in the fucking 30s.
Yeah.
We get the levers dance where Diz tries to get with Johnny. And I've got to ask, who would you pick? Diz or Carmen?
All day long.
Me too.
And again, this is not based on their characters either. This is like, it's really fucking shallow to say. This is based on looks alone. I think Diz is a very, very beautiful woman. I have a thing for curly hair. I love the whole curly hair thing. I like the redhead tone that she's got going on. And in all honesty, I'm not a massive Denise Richards fan. I don't really get it.
No, we're on the same page here. She's like, shallow as it sounds, she looks better, but she's also a better person in this. Like, give these two characters, there is only one option to make, and it is definitely not Carmen.
But you say she looks better, but I have this thing. I like character. I like distinguished stuff about my tastes.
Yeah.
And like when people are like that perfect, glossy cover girl kind of look, it just doesn't do anything for me, man. I'll be honest with you.
No, nor me. Hey, we're weird. The next day we see them at a recruitment center, and they do a little test, and then they're assigned what they're doing. So Carmen's going to be a pilot. Carl is going into war games, which is military intelligence. And Johnny is mobile infantry. The guy at the desk cracks me up, where he's, mobile infantry made me the man I am today. And he's got a prosthetic hand, and when he spins his chair around, he's got no legs.
No legs.
I was like, oh, fabulous. I'm glad I'm in mobile infantry. We see them board their transports before we get another news clip. And this one shows a little bit about crime and punishment, where a man has been caught for a crime in the morning, trialed and found guilty at lunchtime, 3 o'clock sentenced to death. And you can watch it live tonight at 6 p.m. It's like,
yeah, they were advertising it like it was like some sort of celebrity event.
Yeah, which again, it fits this narrative of this kind of fascist regime that's sort of the underbelly of this movie. We also see them testing on arachnids or bugs. They're called arachnids in this, and telling basically the story of people who went out to the quarantine zone where the bugs live without permission, and they all got massacred.
The Mormons. They got the Mormons.
They were the space Mormons. Drill sergeant time. This guy is hardcore in everything he does. He's the prison guard from the Shawshank Redemption, and he plays the same role here with the same level of arseholery, and I love it.
Yes, I love it. I can't remember his name now for the life of me.
Clancy someone.
Clancy Brown.
That's
Clancy
it.
Brown. Excellent actor. I love him in everything he does. He is brilliant. As again, you mentioned Shawshank Redemption. He is the Highlander antagonist. He's in so many things. Pet Sematary 2. This guy is gold dust every time he plays a villain or drill sergeant or police officer. Like you say, he's fantastic in this. What he does is great. His moment at the end of this movie as well is fucking brilliant.
That really made me smile. It's like, oh, you really brought that full circle, and I didn't see it coming. I thought that was really cool.
I didn't either.
He gives them the "I'm the boss" routine. It's my rules. If you don't like it, you can take a walk down washout lane. And then he follows that with, "I'm over here. I'm sure there's some of you who are thinking you could probably take me out. So is there anyone here?" And this guy at the back's like, "I think I can, drill sergeant." He's like, "Well, let's go do it." And then he mercilessly snaps his arm, then gives them all a lecture of why they shouldn't attack him, and then follows it with medic.
Yeah, medic is like, for this next montage of 20 minutes, medic is said about 15 times, I think.
Medic. And, the way he snaps his arm, and they show it as well, it looks brutal. It's really cool though. Diz arrives, and Diz has been asked to transfer to this unit. And he's like, "Well, why would I take you?" And with that, she just takes off her jacket, drops all her shit, and gets in a pose for a fight.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
she's like Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat. She's ready to go.
Yeah, and they have a little scrap, and she gets a couple of hits in, and then he pins her down and chokes her out with his knee. That's like, yeah. And Johnny's watching, and Johnny's like, like you can see he's got a little smile on the corner of his mouth going, "That'll teach you for being arrogant."
Yeah, but to be fair though, she puts up a fucking very good fight, and he's impressed by that as well. You can tell he's impressed by her skills.
Yeah. We do some basic training, and we meet Big Teeth Guy, Gary Busey's son.
I googled immediately who this guy was. I was like, "Oh, he's fantastic. I've seen him in loads of stuff, and I can't remember his name." And then I found out it was Gary Busey's son. I was like, "Oh my god, my mind is blown." He looks exactly like Gary Busey.
He really does. And him and Johnny begin this sort of competition to see who can become squad leader. We also see Johnny get all up in himself about Diz joining. He's like, "You joined just to be near me. I can't believe you've done this." I'm like, get over yourself, man. Maybe she
did, to be fair to him.
She did.
It was a very arrogant statement for him to make, and you could feel the awkwardness in the room when she's like, "Nah, man, get over yourself. I'm not here for you. This is just the best squad, and I wanted to be part of it."
Yeah.
But she very clearly went there for him.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you to take us through the Busey Jr. knife throwing scene, because this cracked me up so much.
So they're
training to throw knives.
Yeah, they're training to throw knives. And Gary Busey's son, I can't remember his name in this movie, to be honest with you. I can't actually remember his character's name. He's like, why do we need knives when we can just pull a trigger on a gun? Blah 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 blah. They have this whole interaction, and the corporal Clancy Brown's like, "Put your hand on the wall, son. Put your hand on the wall." To which he does unwillingly, and he just picks up a knife and just fucking pitch perfect aim straight through the center of his palm, pins him to the wall. Gary Busey is just crying and screaming in pain, but he has time to give a monologue and explain to everybody that, I can't remember what the whole reasoning was behind it. It was like,
it's like he goes, so Busey Jr. is like, "Why are we even bothering with knives? Like, everything's just done on a push of a button." And then he pins his hand. He's like, "Just so you all know, your enemy cannot push the button on a nuke if you disable their hand."
But they don't have hands. They're arachnids.
No, exactly. But I guess they're talking about general war. All wars are fought with nukes now. And again, this is a bit where he's like, "Medic."
But he gives a speech about 10 minutes long to everybody else before he finally calls them medic, and he's just dripping blood down the wall.
Shower time. more tits than you can shake a stick at.
Would you like to know more?
Yeah.
Yes, I would. Well, this is where we find out why they all joined. And they start this sort of like, one of the guys is going, oh, why did you join? Why did you join? Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Baby Busey is like, he's a career. He wanted to be a career guy. You got someone there who wanted to go into politics, and the only way to do that was go to college. And the only way to go to college was to be a citizen. Then you've got someone in there who's like, I want a baby. And the only way you can get a baby is if you get a license. And if you're a citizen, you get a license so much easier. And they get round to Johnny, and Johnny's like, I'm not answering this question. It's stupid. And this is where they start calling him Rico at this point. This is where they switch to Rico. And he has a bit of a meltdown. He storms off out of the showers as Diz gets in. Diz then goes, Johnny joined for a girl. Big smile. And like, they're all like, was it you? And she's like, oh, what do you think? And like, washes her hair. I'm going to say Diz has the best pair of boobs I've ever seen.
That's a statement and a half, my friend.
They are seriously impressive. And that's not me being misogynistic. They're out in this movie for me to look at them. They're not out in this movie for any artistic purpose whatsoever, other than for me at
to
15
judgment on.
Yes. And they are incredible. So I have passed judgment. I'm going to be in so much trouble after this episode. We jump into space where we catch up with Carmen, who's at flight school, and she's excited today because she gets to fly one of the really, really big ships. And we see her fly her little ship up to it, and she drives like a fucking lunatic. Honestly, she drives like my missus. I'm not joking. When I get in the car with Lisa, I double check my seatbelt. It's like fucking Tokyo Drift when she drives.
To be honest with you, the relationship in our household is very different. I'm the Tokyo Drifter. I've crashed pretty much every car I've owned. The only reason I have newer vehicles is because I've crashed the one prior.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I'm a terrible driver.
Yeah, you are Lisa. Lisa is the coming up to a roundabout. There's cars coming. And she goes, there's a gap there. I won't slow down and just go into the gap.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm like, yeah, I can make it. I'm like Tom Cruise when I'm driving, even though really I'm not.
Yeah, like the only thing that's missing is Lisa going, I'm doing it for family. That's the only thing that misses when she drives. When we get up to the big ship, we meet her flight instructor, and her flight instructor is Xander from earlier. These two deserve each other as far as I'm concerned. They're both slimy, they're both dishonest, and I don't like either of them.
No.
I will add that Carmen is an exceptional pilot. I'll give her that.
Yeah, she is. She is until... Is she?
Yeah, she is until she crashes. Anyway, back with Rico and live fire exercise. He's put in charge of a team, and one of his team
he's made squad leader, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's made squad leader, and one of his team's complaining they've got a problem with their helmet. And he goes, right, show me the problem with the helmet. And the guy takes it off as another one of his team trips backwards and just oozes the top of his head off.
Yeah, brilliant. Practical effects are amazing. This scene looks incredible. We should clarify as well, like the tactical stuff that they're performing is not live rounds. It's like a laser tag, but like a modern laser tag where when you hit it, it completely electrifies you and disables you as a person. So taking one of those hits to the face, there's a little bit of logic missed because obviously if you're wearing a helmet, you still have quite a lot of your face exposed. But so if you got hit in the face, a helmet wouldn't do a great deal. So it's,
but when he takes it off, it blows his head like clean apart.
Yeah, it's plot purposeful. Do you know, if you dive too deeply into the logic behind it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So you have to take it with a pinch of salt in this scene. I think the whole purpose is the malpractice that Rico has undergone here, because he should never have taken his helmet off during a field exercise, and they just want to try and showcase his inability to execute things properly and by the book.
Yeah, and this is where he gets dragged in front of the commander with the drill sergeant.
Hank from Breaking Bad.
It is Hank from Breaking Bad. And Hank's sort of like, drill sergeant, is he worth saving? And he's like, Yes, he definitely is. He's got something. I don't know what it is, but he's worth keeping. And he goes, okay, then we'll have administrative punishment instead of kicking him out. This is rough.
Really rough.
Like
the Passion of Christ kind of rough.
They march him out into the middle of this like training camp where all of the other squadrons are all stood up and all lined up neatly. They like tie his hands up and rip him up in this big framework. And they's like, Sergeant, give him 10 lashes. And it is the biggest, longest whip. And they whip him 10 times mercilessly. And the thing I think is really cool about this is they get to like 5. And then they start to fade out to back to space, back to Carmen. And as it's fading out, you can still hear the lashes and still hear them calling them out like 8, 9. And when
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, when it gets to 10, it's faded fully into space.
That's really cool. The one thing that I really took away from this scene was more the development of the relationship between Rico and Clancy Brown's character. You can tell at this point he's really admiring him, and he can see the potential in him as a person. And as he's tying him up, he gives him something to bite on, and he's like, "Trust me, this will help you." He's almost like mother henning him, in a way, because he wants him to succeed. He wants him to come out the other side of this sort of excruciating act that he has to fulfill in order to seek redemption.
And
so I really like the development between the two of them in this moment.
Yeah, and Clancy even says, like, bite down on this. Trust me, I know. Saying full well, I've been exactly where you are, getting exactly what you're getting. This will help you. And their relationship's really good, and it builds really well. We get a really good moment in a minute where it kind of comes to full fruition of how good their relationship got over a short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, Rico's a very likable character. He has a lot of potential within being a soldier, and you can see that not just from now, but you can see that earlier on with the way that the teacher interacts with him earlier on. Ironside, all of them come full circle, and it makes really good development throughout to see these interactions progress as the story unfolds.
Now, like I said, it jumps a bit back and forth. We jump into space now, and we get Carmen and Xander on a night shift flying the ship, and they detect a gravitational pull, and it's from an asteroid that's being flung out of the arachnid quarantine zone, and they kind of dive and they avoid it, but it takes off the top of the ship, and they've got no communications, and from that, we literally go straight back to Earth. Yes. So we go back to Earth, and Rico has now decided he's not going to be in the military, and he's going to quit. Diz tries to talk him out of it.
Really, considering he'd gone through the punishment. It's like, surely you would quit before taking the lashes.
Yeah, given the option, if you're going to walk out anyway, you just walk out, don't get beaten for it first. Maybe he's a sadist, maybe he likes it.
I mean, the thing is as well, for him in this moment, you've got to feel for him because he is now being publicly shamed as being responsible for the death of another member of the squad. So then going back to the squad after this, you can see everyone's really shifty around him. One of the other, you see a montage of people leaving, walking down Shame Alley or whatever they call it, because of witnessing what they've witnessed, seeing that one of their squadrons has died. So it's clear that everybody has lost a lot of respect for him. So regardless of him taking the beating or not, you can imagine going back to the squad after this and everybody looking at him differently. You would maybe kind of be like, yeah, actually, I don't belong here anymore. I'm not welcomed anymore. Maybe I should just go.
Yeah, I can kind of say, I mean, Diz tries to convince him to stay, but he's not having any of it. And he gets to call his parents. And while he's on the phone to his mum and dad, like their cameras start getting dark, like there's a shadow overhead, and then it all like fizzles out. And I love this whole segment here. All hell breaks loose. So he's walking down Washout Lane, and all of a sudden people just start running, crazily running behind him. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And someone shouts at him, we're going to war. We're going to war. And it turns out that meteor that was flung from space that hit Carmen's ship has now landed in his hometown of Buenos Aires, and destroyed it. And he goes to the commander and goes, I want to retract my resignation. He's like, you already put your papers in. He's like, but they just killed my whole family. He's like, well, you've already put your papers in. There's nothing I can do. and this is where the drill sergeant picks up the form. He's like,
Yeah.
Is that your signature? He's like, yes, sir. And then with that, the commander turns away. He goes, doesn't look like it to me, and just tears it up. It's like the
Brilliant scene.
perfect explanation of turning a blind eye. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
see anything. You crack on. It's really good, really powerful. And he turns around and he goes, why are you still standing here, Private? He's gone, I don't know, sir. I'm going now. Like, good boy. Off you go.
But again, it just shows how far the relationship has come between him and Clancy Brown as well. Like it's good. It's I have a lot of respect for the character development and exposition that is done within the first hour of this movie. It is fantastic. Really, really good. The way they set up Rico and Days and the drill sergeant and even Carmen's character and even the vengeful guy from the basketball, the American soccer who ends up Xander, yeah, like everybody is established very, very well, and the direction that they're taking throughout this film, it's all produced really, really intelligently in a way to make it all sort of fit together, considering that the story spread out so far over many different locations.
Yeah, and they do a really good job of tying everything together, and everything makes sense. And you know,
no, they don't do a very good job of tying it all together, but they do a good job of establishing it here.
I think they tied it all together well, up to this point at least. We get another news report, and this is where we find out that the humans are now going to attack Klendathu, is the planet where the bugs come from. And it's a big, like, you see all these ships getting ready, and there's a news reporter there, and the headline is Countdown to Victory, which is the most arrogant thing ever. It's like, countdown to victory. Join us live tonight at 9 o'clock as we take Klendathu and claim our rightful place as kings of the galaxy.
The thing is, though, this is so fucking self-aware without knowing it, because the world we live in today is exactly the way it is portrayed in this movie, and it's insane.
It is.
Even with like the news reports themselves and the things like that, it's just like, fucking hell, you have no idea how ahead of your time you actually are.
They really, really, really are.
Would you like to know more?
Yes, I would. We jump into space where we find Rico, Diaz, and Boosie Jr. on a spaceship, and they're going to get tattoos before the battle. And this is where Rico spots Carmen. And this is where we find out that she ended things. And I quote her, I done what was best for both of us, Johnny. And
yeah, well, no, this wasn't where we found out. She sent that video message earlier on, didn't she?
Yes, she did. And this is where she doubles down on it. It's like, I done what was best for both of us. And as she
especially
said,
now we're at war.
Yeah. And as she said it, Xander like saunters in behind her. And Johnny's like, oh, this is what's best for both of us. He's like, I've got a problem. And Xander's like, well, let's deal with it. He's like, no, we don't make dumb troopers. I won't fight a sergeant. And he's like, and this is where they have the rank means nothing here. And
Yes.
Xander's giving it the big one, going, rank means nothing here. Are you hearing me? Everyone can hear me. Rank, but like he hasn't got it out the second time. And Johnny's just obliterated the side of his face with the biggest haymaker ever. And
I love this little brawl. It was fantastic because you get the perfect balance between the two of them, so you don't necessarily know who really would be crowned champion. And then Johnny does a backflip off a table. And I was like, yeah, Johnny's got this, to be fair.
Yeah, like Johnny smacks him and then he gets like suplexed onto a table like WWE, and then he does a backflip off the table, and then they get like torn apart and they're broken up. And then they go and get the dumbest tattoos in the history of tattoos. And that is coming from someone who has the logo for this show tattooed on his body.
Hey, I'm covered in tattoos from head to fucking toe. I'm not in any position to judge bad tattoos, trust me.
But this tattoo is bad.
I have this tattoo. I love this film that much that I actually
don't have this tattoo.
I do. I have this tattoo.
Do you really?
No, do I?
I was just about to have like a complete mental breakdown there. There was going to be a moment where the show was going to stop and you were going to have to strip to show me where that tattoo was.
No, I don't have this tattoo. It's not good. It's like that tattoo that Bart Simpson gets.
Yeah.
Do you remember when he gets that tattoo and it says like mom and he spells it wrong and stuff? Yeah, it's not great. It's like a skull in a triangle and it says, I can't remember what it was, like death, dishonor,
death kill or something like that. Yeah, death kill.
Yeah, it's like a generic military tattoo.
Yeah, and the stupid thing is, if you're a big fan of this movie, I understand why you may get that tattoo, but it's a
Please
dumb
don't.
tattoo.
If anybody likes this movie enough, please don't go and get that tattoo.
No, have a lovely portrait of Diz done on your back instead.
That I would take that. Yeah.
Yeah. We cut to the dropships falling to the planet and lights shooting out into the sky, which aren't lights. We'll talk about what they are in a minute. They begin the invasion and they are massively outnumbered. And this is where we see giant, what would you call them? They're giant beetles.
Yeah, they're
and
like blue beetles, aren't they?
Yeah, and they're bent over, pointing their arse into the sky, and they're firing a blue, like laser pulse out of their arse, which is taking ships down in space.
Yeah, they're pooing ships out of space.
It's so far fetched, but it kind of works.
Yeah, I mean, I had no issue with it. It's only the fact that we're trying to dissect it now that it came into my mind. But yeah, no, it it worked.
Yeah, they poop lasers. They poop laser pulse.
The thing to me that sort of draw confusion was like why nobody really picked up. Like everybody was just in all these spaceships around the planet, just sort of watching these things go past them. And it wasn't until one of them hit the ship that it was like, oh, we maybe shouldn't be here. I was like, clearly these are coming for you. These are aimed at you.
Yeah, this is not normal. This is like
they're not putting on a firework display as a welcome party. Like what are you doing?
The battle is really cool, and we soon realize this is where we were at the start of the movie. So you see the reporter giving the exposition of, "Here we're here on Clendathu. We're going to take the thing now," and this is where the character runs past and screams at the camera to run, and it's Johnny Rico, and we see like the reporter gets bitten in half by the bug, which again looks amazing. And we saw Rico get pinned down before everything fades to black.
One thing that we should pinpoint as well, because I think it's an important part of the plot, is in this moment where Gary Busey's son is obviously team leader after Rico was demoted due to the incident that happened in the firearm training. He is now team leader. The squad are trying to attack this planet in order to seek redemption for what happened in Buenos Aires, and he just completely freezes. He completely freezes. Everyone stood around him, sort of looking at him for answers, like, what do we do? What do we do? And Rico has to step in and take over and sort of command the squad to attack and then to obviously retreat and all the rest of it. And Gary Busey's character completely fails, which is a big moment in the movie for not only what happens to his character for the rest of the film, but also what happens for Rico's character going forward.
Yeah, it is. So back in space, we're now on the space station, sort of the hub that they're launching all their ships from. And Carmen and Xander get back, and Carmen rushes to see the list of the deceased where Rico is listed, and she gets very upset and sort of walks away. And Xander chases her. Before we jump to Diz and Busey Jr., like excited like you've never seen, holding a piece of paper, and they run into a room where Rico's in like this floating pod. It's very much like Star Wars heel Luke Skywalker pod.
Yeah, and again, like the technology regarding the medical stuff in this movie is really, really creative as well. Like one thing that makes this make a little bit more sense is earlier on we get a brief shot at the guy who got his arm snapped by the drill sergeant is literally having like this water tank around his arm.
Yeah,
literally minutes after, and he's picking stuff up. He's absolutely fine, and it's almost like, oh, this is just a quick fix kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a flesh wound.
It's a flesh wound, yeah. So Rico's in this tank, and he's like floating with his oxygen thing in, like a scuba diver thing, in order to keep him underwater. And they flash this thing on the screen and like, hey man, you're registered dead. This is it. You're dead, man. You know. And he laughs in the tank, which I thought was really, really cool. He's like, look, you've got 3 more days. 3 more days and you'll be out. Don't worry. And we're all back to normal.
And this is where Diz puts a big kiss on the glass for him.
Yes. Yeah. Man, Johnny is stupid. Johnny's
stupid.
If a woman as beautiful as her is throwing herself, literally throwing herself at you.
Yeah.
Don't be a dick, man.
Yeah, we'll get into more of how much a dick he is because it still takes him a long time from here to sort his head out. After he's healed, they report to the Roughnecks, the
Yes.
Radchak Roughnecks. Hooah!
Hooah! I like this group.
Radchak is his old teacher from the classroom, and he is so cool. Ironside is sort of the stereotypical hard man.
He's a bomb, man. He's awesome in this.
Yeah,
And
he
the fact
gives
that we've mentioned that it's RoboCop as well also makes more sense now.
Yeah, and he gives the rhetoric of everybody. I've got one rule: everybody fights and nobody runs away.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and I like how dismissive he is about the fact that he knows Rico as well.
Yeah.
Because he's in the zone. He's not the teacher he was.
Yeah,
Do you know, he's obviously, the world's gone to shit. They've been called back up to war, and he's taking his place.
Yeah, and we find out that his squad throughout history, whenever he's run that squad, they've killed more bugs than most of the platoons put together. Just their little group of 20 of them.
They're the Expendables.
Yeah, they are. He lays out that the plan has now changed, and they're looking to go and clean out all of the sort of surrounding planets around Klendathu before they go back in, because they want to learn more about the bugs. So the old Sky Marshal was sacked, and they brought in a new one, and this is her new plan. Their next mission is underway, and we get loads of bug versus human in this scene. It's like there's so much. They get to the planet, they go having a look around, then a bug comes up, then they throw a mini nuke down a bug hole, and it all looks great. And we meet the electric fire breathing bug properly, the one that was shooting stuff out of his butt earlier. This is cool, and I love how Rico kills this.
Yeah, Rico goes full Vin Diesel in this moment. Jumps off a cliff, shoots a hole in its back, chucks a grenade down it while riding it down a canyon before it explodes and completely.
It explodes, and it leaves like there's blood and guts everywhere, and there's this thing like melting on fire behind him. They have this really good shot where he turns to the camera and smiles. Like, well done.
Yeah, and this is where my grievances start a little bit with the writing. For me, everything kind of, it becomes very predictable based on laziness on the writing side of things. So I don't know the official terms of the rankings within the army, so I'm not going to try and sort of.
I can help you because I've got that. So the corporal is what you're going to say died.
So the corporal died. He got taken away by a flying creature, and the Ironside shoots him down, and he was like, I'd expect anybody to do the same for me in that situation, something that will come back in later on. This that's immediately promotes.
That's not here. That's further down the road.
Right, is that further down the road? Right,
yeah,
okay, we'll get to that in a minute. So
someone
gets killed anyway, so he gets a promotion. Either way, Rico gets a promotion in this moment because somebody died, so he had to take his place. So I was like, right. So in order, because this is a movie, he's obviously going to be top dog by the end of it. Somebody has to die within the ranking system in order for him to get promoted. It's not something that he's going to earn. It's just something that's going to happen via somebody dying.
See, I didn't put that link together. I was like, he's been promoted. He's done really well. And I really liked the way he done it, where Ironside turned around and goes, you're now my corporal until you're dead or I find someone better.
Which is really cool, and a line that comes in repeatedly throughout the movie.
It does.
But it's only happened because the person that he was... Yeah, so again, the quote is purposeful, until you die or I find somebody better.
Yeah.
But it's not. The answer is always somebody dies. So as soon as you're like, oh, well, who's above him right now? It's like, oh, you. Oh, so you're going to die next so he can take your place. And then who's above you? Oh, well, you're going to die in the next scene so he can take your place before he becomes corporal or whatever the ranking system is for it.
See,
for
I
me,
didn't
that
put any of that together.
Lazy. Really?
I didn't put, none of that clicked. I was just in the moment enjoying the madness.
See, I was too in that sense, but it just, when I started to dissect it and think about it properly, it just became apparent. And then also, because I'd gone down that path with it, I then knew, right, well, if that's what he needs to do to get a promotion, then obviously this is how the rest of the movie is going to play out in order for him and Carmen to get back together. And it kind of compromised things for me because I knew exactly who was going to die and in what order they were going to go out in.
Yeah, that's sad. I'm glad I didn't make that connection. That would have ruined it for me completely.
Yeah, it kind of did a little bit for me.
They have a party, so the Ironside throws them all a party, and he's like, "Here's the beer, here's the games. Have fun. You've done well today. We're at war tomorrow. Tonight, you celebrate, you party." And he gives Rico the best advice anyone's ever given anyone. Diz tries talking to Rico, tries to get him to dance. He's like, no, I don't dance. And Ironside's gone, "You once asked for my advice," which he does at the beginning in the school. He's like, "I'm going to give you some now. Don't turn up a good thing. Don't let it go past you." And he doesn't. And he goes into a tent with Diz, and they're kissing and cuddling, and she says that she loves him. And also, they get the call to go to war immediately. And Ironside opens the tent, and Diz hides. He's like, "Who's that in there with you?" It's like, "Me." He's gone, "Well, it was 10 minutes, but you take 20.
Yeah.
And they have a moment where they look at each other and goes, 20 minutes? Yeah, we can make that work.
I can do it.
20
minutes, man. I could do that twice.
Only twice. That'd be like a marathon. The next day, we're on another planet. After clearing out some bugs, we meet some new flying ones. I like these.
Yeah, they're cool. They're cool.
I really like the flying bugs. They're much more dangerous than the ones on the floor.
Yeah.
The
thing is as well, they like, oh no, we don't get to that yet. I'm just jumping so far ahead of myself. They're cooler later on.
Yeah, they're cool now as well. So like they pick up like a comms guy and take him up and start like punching holes in him. And this
no, they don't. That's the thing. They don't. They don't take up a comms guy. They take up the next stage above Rico. That's why I mentioned it earlier. They take up whatever is a higher ranking person above Rico. They take him up to the top of that mountain. And this is when Ironside picks up the gun and you think he's going to take out the flying bug. And he shoots
and he gets
a soldier.
promoted again.
Yeah, and he shoots a soldier. And he's like, "I'd expect any one of you to do the same for me in this situation." And that's when he turns to Rico and he's like, "You're now corporal, staff sergeant, lieutenant, right boot."
Okay, so he's had two promotions from two people dying. Okay,
so you see where I'm going with this theory now.
They make their way to a military outpost on this planet, and they find an officer who's hiding, and he's so thankful they're there. He's like, "I had to hide because I knew too much, and like evac's coming, right? You can get us out here." And they're like, "No." And that's when this guy loses his mind. And they show you the guy in the chair who's got a big hole in the top of his head. It's like the bugs come in and sucked his brains out.
For information.
It's like we're all gonna die. And what comes next is the swarm is incredible.
Yeah, and this is where the flying bugs come back with full force. And I love the flying bugs in this scene because as they swoop in, their wings just decapitate soldiers left, right, and center. It's so cool.
Yeah, and like, the overall swarm, like to get the scale of this, it's that we're talking tens of thousands of these things that take them a good fucking 30 clips of ammo to kill one of them, and they're just bashing into this base.
And the thing is as well, like we get like a certain like infomercial earlier on from Dougie Hauser explaining the best way to kill these things is like decapitate the leg. And then there's a soft spot where you hit it, and he like takes 3 bullets, and he just completely kills this thing instantly.
Yeah,
but none of them seem to know this information.
No, they're just wildly shooting constantly and constantly reloading. This is where Rico calls for a transport. He's like, "We need picking up at this base," and they're like, "We can't pick you up there. That's crazy." He's like, "I hope you've got a crazy pilot." And I just went, "Oh, here comes Carmen."
Yeah, here comes Carmen.
This is where Ironside gets his legs melted off by a bug.
Yeah,
like he gets dragged into the floor and his legs are melted off. And he looks at Johnny and goes, "You know what to do." And Johnny shoots him, which is really sad.
It is really sad, but also at the same time, I didn't feel like that was justified.
No, they
I
could
didn't think
him.
like his injuries were worthy of a kill. Like, it's not like he got stabbed in the chest or anything like that. It was his legs.
Yeah, and we
given
saw
the
someone at the beginning of the
technology,
film with no legs.
That's what I mean. So, like, given the technology they have and the medical repair stuff that they have available to them, I thought this would just be take him on the ship, put him in a tank, and he'll be all right. Just have no legs.
What comes next is honestly heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Where the bug, like Diz is walking back towards the ship, and a bug just skewers her through the shoulder, picks her up, and starts like having a bit of a bite on her. And they all go there and they shoot a limb off that's like protruding through her body, and she drops to the floor. And they pull this big thing out, and as they pulled it out, I'm like, "Don't pull that out! You're going to kill her! Don't do that!"
Yeah, that was one thing that was wild to me as well. It's like, if somebody gets stabbed, you don't take the knife out, like you leave it in.
And this
then
isn't
when
a
they pulled
knife.
it out, I was like, "Oh, don't do that, guys!"
Yeah, and this isn't a knife. This is like the diameter of a beer can that's skewered through her body, and they're like, "Oh, I've got a really good idea. We'll take this out, and the blood will just stay there. It'll be fine."
And the thing that always blows my mind about movies when they do stuff like this as well is like that thing is smaller at one end than it is at the other. So it's like a cone.
Yeah.
So the obvious thing to do would be to pull it from the back out. Do you know what I mean? Like you would pull it so like the smaller end comes back through. They don't. Yeah. They grab it from the top and just yank the thicker end through the rest of the body, opening the wound even further. I'm like, you guys are fucking stupid. You should not be allowed to handle guns.
This is where we needed the drill sergeant from earlier, because he could have shouted medic and it would have all been okay.
Yes. Had he thrown a knife at the arm, it would have been all right as well.
Exactly. And they get Diz on the ship and she dies in Johnny's arms. He's like, "I'm so sorry." She's like, "Well, it's okay because I got to have you." And then she dies. And I'm going to say it, Diz deserved better than Johnny.
Yeah, she did. I love Diz. She is the best character in this movie, and she was wasted on this fucking douchebag jock.
Yeah. We get a military funeral for Diz, and from now on, this is how I want to be disposed of. I want to be put in a silver coffin and shot into space.
Yeah. We also get the return of Dougie Hauser here, who looks like he's been smoking crystal meth for about 6 months.
But he's amazing. He comes back and he's like, "I'm really sorry it was your unit that went there, but we need the unit that was actually half decent, so we sent you. Sorry about that."
Yeah, they have the conversation. It was like, "Look, it was a death mission. We didn't expect anybody to survive it. It was purely based on recon and information. I just didn't know it was you guys that we sent there. Had I known, I maybe wouldn't have sent you." But he's like, "Job's got a job."
Yeah,
and I need the information.
He's like, "And we now know there's a brain bug. There's an intelligent bug on planet P, and that's where you're going next. So I hope you're ready for more." We meet the new recruits, who honestly are about 12.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, no, this is the age of the people that these actual actors are trying to portray.
Yeah, it is. Rico welcomes them to the Roughnecks, saying, "I only have one rule. Everybody fights and nobody dies." And he goes, "Welcome to the Roughnecks." And then old Boosie in the background, "Rico's Roughnecks. Hoorah!"
No, it's not Rico. It's not Busey. It's Gabriel from The Walking Dead.
Oh, it is Gabriel.
It is Gabriel. Yeah, it's Gabriel from The Walking Dead steps forward. And he's like, "It's Rico's Roughnecks." And they're like, "Hoorah!" Yeah, hoorah. But the thing is as well, like, he's now like, he's taking on every different persona of the people that have encouraged him throughout. So he's like gone from being the drill sergeant. He's gone from being rich kid from the OC to then being the drill sergeant to then being, now he's Ironside. And he's repeating lines from people. He does this quite a lot throughout the film. Like, he quotes a lot of the stuff that the drill sergeant said without, like, when he's like squad leader earlier on, like during training and stuff like that. And then now he gets to this point and he's now taken over from Ironside. He's now corporal. And he says a lot of things that Ironside said to the squad prior to his taking over, and he repeats their lines. And it was really cool that Gabriel came up and he's like, "It's Rico's Roughnecks now." And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I like that. And that's something that genuinely happens. Like, if you learn something from someone, you tend to pick up their mannerisms and you do the things they do. That's a real thing. It all gets a bit silly now as they try to tie everything together, and I'm not going to try and defend it. So Carmen and Xander crash on planet P as they're dropping everyone off, and Rico and his team are on the ground, and they're in search for the brain bug. And this is where Rico gets a feeling that Carmen is still alive. So her and Xander are alive, and they've been captured by the brain bug, which is the dumbest looking shit with a vagina for a mouth that I have ever seen in a movie. What is this?
Yeah, so the thing is as well, though, like before we dive too deeply into this, they crash land through the cave. So they're doing the whole Starship Troopers Star Trek thing outside, and then the poo bugs are throwing like nukes into the air. They wipe out a load of ships, which they clearly haven't learned from their prior mistakes, because it's the same thing that happened on the first planet. And then they get into an escape pod and crash through the side of a cave. This is where she radios through to Rico and is like, "Oh, we've landed here. It's extremely hostile." The search squad, all Rico's rednecks, are like, "Let's go get her, let's go get her." And Rico, thankfully, has some common sense. He's like, "Look, she's already dead. Like, by the time we get there, she's already dead. We're not going."
Yeah.
Things go to shit down there. She takes out Xander. He takes out Carmen. But he doesn't kill them. Doesn't kill them. The bug doesn't kill them. Well, not the bug. This is just the arachnids at this point. Doesn't kill them. It just sort of pierces them to the ground. They have this weird conversation between the two of them. It's like, why are they not killing us? Why are they not just eating us and executing us here and then? And this is where we get the Jabba the Hutt brain thing.
This thing's awful.
Creeping out.
Like awful.
Really
like the worst. Cool. It's the worst. Its mouth looks like a vagina.
Yeah, it does. It does. Like this, if this thing had legs, that would be a new level of arachnophobia for me completely. Like if it had like full-on big-sized spider legs to match its weird-sized brain body, sleepless nights would be had. I'm telling you.
Yeah, see, honestly, at this point, I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. And especially as they put so much effort into all of the other bugs, this one just feels like, I don't know, they just made a lump and it just didn't feel, it just done my head in. And
yeah, but you see, I disagree with you on that though, because the thing is as well, like it's that level of vulnerability with this creature as well. Like it is a very vulnerable bug because it's based on its intelligence. It's not a physical character. It's not a physical thing. It can't defend itself, but it doesn't need to because of its intelligence, and it has all of these arachnids around it protecting it. So I kind of understood that level of.
I understood it. I just thought it was dumb. And what, like when Rico comes in and he's holding like the mini nuke, and the bug starts backing away, like that's all really cool and it's really clever. I get it.
Yeah,
but they just they threaten it with the nuke and they just walk out of there. Not once does any of those arachnids try and go for them or chase them out of the tunnel or any of that.
Because they haven't been told to. I don't want to defend it because I have a lot of criticisms about this movie when we get to it, but I don't want to defend it too much. But I just feel like that's the wrong thing to be picking apart, really, because I feel like this stuff was established quite well. Like the intelligence of this animal, it has all of these. He's the higher being, and these are all within its control, like its army. Obviously, he's then in a position, the brain I'm talking about now is in a position to keep everybody held at bay. It's like, no, don't attack.
Because he'll kill us all.
Kill us all. So before we get to that, because it's important to the plot, Rico actually does decide to then go and rescue Carmen from the brain bug. Bearing in mind, he's already killed, which we didn't say, he's already killed Xander, which was fucking cool, by the way.
That kill was good. I'll give you that.
Amazing. So the brain bug has this tentacle. They've already touched on it earlier on, where the brain tentacle comes out and it digs into the brain. This is obviously feeding from information. So what it does is it sucks all the intelligence and everything basically out the human body and digests it, so it knows the vulnerabilities of the humans, or it knows basically everything they're thinking, so it knows how to protect itself and how to attack future attack. When they kill Xander, they've obviously kept Carmen and Xander in this situation, and then we finally figure out why they haven't killed him is because the bug wants to drain them to know what they know. It kills Xander. The thing goes through its skull and it sucks Like it's
Everything.
literally like when you're drinking a Ribena carton and you suck that last little bit out of it. But the practical effects in this moment were really, really clever. I thought, considering how CGI heavy this movie is in places, I thought, oh, this is going to be one of the weaker moments. But it was like a fucking David Cronenberg level-esque quality of practical effects. It was all done practically and it looked really, really clever. The makeups were fantastic. So they kill Xander. He's now dead. And this is where Rico has this moment of epiphany that he should go there and rescue her. And he comes in with the nuke, as you said.
Yeah, and like I get it all. And I'm not shitting on this movie because it looks great. It really does look great. And I really enjoy this movie. But like the ending, like the bug, I was disappointed. Like, you know, when you play a game and you're looking forward to getting to the final level boss, and you get to the final level boss and you're like, oh, well, the boss I fought earlier was scarier than you. That's kind of the vibe I get from this. Like all of the flying bugs are scarier than this, but like everything in this is scarier than this big lump. And it just fell flat for me. And I get what they were trying to do.
No, I know, but I agree with you completely on that. Like this for me as an entire movie feels like an intro segment.
Yeah.
Which is strange considering this is a 2 hour and 10-minute movie. Everything that builds up to it, sort of everything feels like exposition, like you could condense down to a 10-minute movie to build up to an actual alien war that you're kind of getting into.
And we're like at the closing scenes now, and the closing scenes of this almost feel like this could be the opening of a movie.
Yeah, like, exactly that. And it's so strange. Like, and we know we have sequels to these movies, but it's just strange that we get to this point, but you're like, you get to the closing acts and you're like, yeah, man, this is fucking cool. I need more.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have to walk away from a movie that is just a self-contained movie, which this was originally.
Yeah. Just wanting more.
Wanting more and feeling like you've just being set up and just being introduced to this world. Because this isn't a penultimate act in my mind. It's not justifiable enough to have this as a final closing antagonist, because it's just a sub character and a subplot before we get to the big stuff.
And the closing's really anticlimactic as well. So when they get outside, the whole army is rejoicing. They're firing guns in the air and they're dragging out a brain bug. And this is where Carl is there and Rico's like, did you tell me that Carmen was there? He's like, no, I can't do that to humans. It's like, yeah, you clearly did. Tell him.
You clearly did, which is why I showed so much emphasis on it, because it was clear that he almost had that moment of, why should I go down this path to rescue Carmen? It's because Dougie Hauser told you to go and do it. Because he's now digested the ability to be able to do that.
Yeah, and Carl walks up to the brain bug and puts his hand on its head. And one of the other commanders like, what's it thinking? He's like, it's afraid. Like, no shit.
I could have fucking told you that.
It's been dragged out of its home in a net. You're all firing in the air and cheering and jumping up and down. And now some random dude's touching it. Yes, I would be afraid as well.
See, for me, like, if they'd have turned around and been like, vengeance is on its mind, I would have been like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
But like to be like, oh, it's afraid. I was like, of course it's fucking afraid, you idiot. I could have told you that.
We also find out here that the soldier who caught the brain bug was the drill sergeant. So at the beginning of the movie, when war kicks off, the drill sergeant's like, I want war. And the commander says, the only way you get that is if you bust yourself to private. And he has this lovely scene with Rico, where Rico's like, congratulations, sergeant. He's like, no. I'm private now, sir. It's like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. He wanted it so bad that he did bust himself to private and go off to war. We get one more news segment where we're told that they're investigating the brain bug, and we see the vagina mouth of the brain bug penetrated with, I don't know, some kind of dodgy long silver sex toy. And we get some more montage of we're on our way to Victory Road, but we need you. And it cuts into this recruitment video. And that's how the movie ends, like with a recruitment video of we need you for the war that's coming. So it literally leaves you on, we know there's more coming, but we're not going to tell you what it is.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah. we've got a lot happening on this episode from here. We've got 3-word review, we've got TikTok talks, we've got facts, we've got the return of something that's not been here for a while. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back. Video Tasties is the ultimate YouTube channel for movie fans. Whether action movies are your thing or you like a romantic comedy, Video Tasties has you covered. With regular live watch-along parties, top 10 countdowns and reviews and so much more. Not to mention, Video Tasties also showcases his very extensive VHS collection for you all to enjoy. This is an account that must not be missed and is an absolute must for any movie fans. Go check him out at yourunpodcast.com. So yeah, go over to yourunpodcast.com, check out all the other network members. While you're there, have a look at our shop, buy a t-shirt. Money goes back into the show, not into our pockets. Do all that really wonderful stuff.
Well, I haven't seen a fucking penny yet, so yeah, it better do.
Let's do this.
3-word reviews, man.
On X, we've got Trekaholic, Kill Some Bugs, and they're a lifelong Trekkie. On Threads, we've got Dark Spawner, an awesome time, and they're a horror author. We've got Radar DeBoard, Worst Pest Control, and they're a horror account. And Slasher have broken their vow of silence this week to play. We've got Nekaratu, Better Than Expected. They're a horror account. On Instagram, Randomly Eric, Mark's nemesis and book account.
He's my friend now. We've drawn an alliance, apparently.
I think you may have, because Diz deserved better.
Oh, you see, this is it. He's buttering me up, but this is what makes me worried. He's getting on board. He's aligning with me. He's saying things that I appreciate, but then I'm just worried what's coming next.
We've got a cut above horror review, doing my part. They're a horror podcast. Nerdy Dad 42, 42, 42, 42. I'm Dying Johnny. And they're a mixed fandom account. That cuts deep. That hurts. Scottish Geek Guy. Dead Bugs. Lots. Very straight and to the point. Now, something strange happened this week with 3-word review that's never happened before. So someone took the picture for 3-word review and shared it on their page. Screenshotted the post and then shared it as their own post. And I don't mind people doing that. Like, people steal memes from our page all the time. It doesn't bother me. But this one I thought was a strange choice to take. Like, I've got some memes on there that have got thousands of likes, but instead they took the 3-word review for Starship Troopers and shared it. So we're going to do some of the comments that were on their post. So
but does the post state that it's a 3-word review thing?
Yeah. So it's got on there, review this movie in 3 words only, and they took that and put it on their page.
Right. Okay. I was going to say, otherwise, if they just took a random picture of Starship Troopers,
it's in big bold red letters in block capitals across the front. It's review this movie in 3 words only, and they took that and put it on their page. The first one on there is from the You Run podcast, Stolen Meme Fiasco. That was me. The second one is Anderson Starfleet. Want to know more?
Would you like to know more?
And they're a Trekkie. We've got I've Seen That Film, Rico's Roughnecks, and they're a cinema buff. And Will Murray 1978, Kill 'Em All, and they're a private account. Now, the account that borrowed 3-word review, like I say, I've got no issue with people doing this. This is Nerdy Up North, and they're a fellow podcaster. They're really
follow
cool.
Nerdy Up North. They're cool.
Yeah.
They do like some really good memes, especially for a northerner like myself.
Yeah,
that I can relate to.
Yeah, really good. Got a really good YouTube channel. So go and give them a follow as well, because as soon as I commented Stolen Meme Fiasco, they were like, really sorry. I was like, no, it's cool. I don't care. It's just like, I just wanted you to know that I knew. Let's do some TikTok talks. And we have got 2 returning players this week. Would you like Dave B.
Is it Junkie Larry again? Because I don't know if I can do another
10-minute
10-minute montage from him. He intimidates me a lot.
We've got Dave B Movies or Bite 19. Where would you like to go first?
I don't know neither, but I'll go Bite 19 first, please.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, hey. So I'm at work right now. I understand we got some videos to talk about. One in particular I absolutely love. Let's talk. We're talking about Starship Troopers with Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, and the luscious Denise Richards. I don't know if you can call her that. On the other hand, the story basically is put together by Robert Heinlein, who's done other fascist-style sci-fi work like Puppet Masters and so forth. It's directed by Paul Verhoeven, big man, Big time director of things like Basic Instinct, Total Recall, and of course my absolute favorite, RoboCop.
Yeah.
And as you probably could tell based off of those 3 movies, this movie is going to be just as violent, just as nasty, and just as story driven as well. It starts with your basic rom-com kind of deal, where high schoolers are trying to get together to become citizens, even though they're filthy, stupid rich, in the Americanized version of Buenos Aires in South America. Go figure. When it's all basically said and done, there's an alien attack. These guys join the military to become citizens, but at the same time, they go and they fight for the planet Earth. When done, people get killed, people love, people not love, people love again. And then you have Michael Ironside getting torn to shreds. I know, it's quite fun. This thing was the quintessential version of fascism, which is kind of going on in America today. Go figure. Yeah. And it's very satirical in its presentation as well, which is quite nice. I absolutely loved it, but it took me a while to actually get into it, thanks to all the delays in the theatrical release. By the time it got to the September date, I was almost put off by it. Go figure. But once it was released, the visual effects were magnificent. The gore was quite clean. Wasn't nothing cheesy about it at all, let me tell you. And it basically goes from 0 to 100 2 minutes in, once you get into it. It's a good story. As cheesy as it is, it's still a good story. It's basically, like I said, Melrose space. So it's not Melrose Place, it's Melrose in space. Check it out. It is available, of course, online and in the home media. And if you happen to have the steelbook version of it, picture looks fantastic. That's my choice for Starship Troopers. I'll see you guys again in the basement.
That's awesome. Yeah, Bite 19 is awesome. Let's see what Dave B. Movies has to say.
Hello. So, Starship Troopers. Now, this is a film I need no reason at all to rewatch because I love it. For me, it's a sci-fi that edges on comedy, with certain elements of horror. You've got the gore and the attacks with the aliens, but yeah, it's very loose in my opinion to be putting this on horror. But what I do say that it's a clever film. It touches on politics, fascism, etc. It's a clever film in the way that it's a great film disguised as something that's a bit of a laugh and a bit of fun. It's got a cult status rather than being really, really mainstream. If you love it, you love it. If you don't, that's fine. It's so quotable, it just takes it further and that bit of fun. I quote it daily. Quite often, it's really good. And yeah, so it kind of sneaks past people. But ultimately, it leaves you asking one question. And it's a very serious question. Dina or Denise, Dizzy or Carmen? And for me, Dina / Dizzy wins every time. So yeah, Stitch, do a comment, let me know. First, your opinions on the most important question, but also what you think about Starship Troopers. It is.
Yeah, important question. Diz or Carmen? We've already answered it. It's Diz.
We have already answered it. Was that your phone or was that his?
No, that was his phone. That wasn't mine. If anyone, I'm curious actually, if anyone is Team Carmen, let us know.
Nobody can be Team Carmen in this movie.
Shall I put a poll out when it comes out?
I think so. I think you need to. Yeah, I would be blown away to see this not be a landslide victory.
You never know. Stranger things have happened on this show.
This is very true.
Let's do some facts. So I don't know where to start with this. When I was reading through facts for this and researching facts, this is the wildest fucking shoot of a movie ever in history. So when they done the nude shower scene, a lot of the actors and actresses were very much like, no, I'm not really keen on doing this. And it's really uncomfortable. There's loads of people watching me. So the director booted everyone out. And it was the director, the producer, and the cast.
Which is wild, considering this is going to be showcased to like millions of people worldwide.
Yeah. And they were still a bit unsure of it. And the director had a moment where he went, it's not a fucking big deal. And with that, stripped bollock naked, looked at the producer and went, what are you waiting for? So he did as well. So this was shot by the director and the producer, who were completely nude, while all of the cast were nude as well.
I mean, balls to the walls, man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I when I read that, I was like, that is amazing. Apparently, is Casper, whatever his name is, the guy who plays Rico. Apparently, they had to do several takes because every time he looked up, he's got the director sat in a director's chair looking through the lens, and all he can see is the director's tackle swinging away. There is a miniature of the Millennium Falcon on the backside of one of the Starship bridges, and you see it multiple times through this movie.
How did I not notice that?
You know the fight that Rico and Xander have?
Yep.
So the two actors, which is Casper Van Dien and Patrick Muldoon, sat down beforehand and said they wanted it to look authentic. So Patrick Muldoon, who plays Xander, told Rico to hit him as hard as he could. And he reassured him that he could take it. In later interviews, he said that it is the hardest he's ever been punched because when Casper swung for him, he genuinely hit him as hard as he could punch him.
Wow, that's cool.
I love things like that. Jake Busey suffered heat stroke while filming this. They filmed it in the desert. It was 120 degrees most days. So after this, they modified the costume design and they changed. So they were in like full, like tactical armor, and they modified it and took bits off and cut holes in it to basically make it less stressful.
Breathable.
Yeah, there were 25 people that were treated for heat stroke during the production of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like it's filmed at the Grand Canyon in places. It's like,
yeah,
it must have been hot.
It was very hot. When Michael Ironside falls into the hole and gets his legs bitten off, and like when you can see in the background, you could see Diz fall. So as he's pulled in, Diz falls backwards. In real life, Diz fell backwards and knocked herself unconscious on a prop and had to have 4 days off filming because she had severe concussion.
I didn't even notice that, to be honest with you.
Like, this is the wildest movie ever. So we've got people with heat stroke, we've got directors walking around stark bollock naked, we've got a Millennium Falcon, we've got people with concussion. Like, it sounds like the most fun set to be on.
Well, I mean, define fun if you're an actor.
In the scene, there's one of the guys who says that he wants to serve so he can join, so he can go to Harvard. He wants to go to Harvard University.
Yes.
And he said, because you know that without not being a citizen, that costs an arm and a leg, which is exactly how he gets killed by a bug later in the movie. He had his arm ripped off, then his leg ripped off.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't pick up on that.
No, I didn't either. Last one. And this one I thought was the best. So when Dizzy decides she's going to fight Super Sergeant right at the beginning, Drill Sergeant, they kind of had a bit of a tussle and he pinned her under his leg with his knee. You know, her eyes roll back into the back of her head?
Yeah.
That's because she couldn't breathe because he put too much pressure on her as she was passing out.
Clancy Brown, you monster.
Apparently afterwards he was incredibly apologetic, and when she saw the take she's like, no, it's absolutely fine, I was fine with it and I knew it was hard. She said, then all of a sudden I'm going, oh, I'm a bit lightheaded now.
And she fully passed out?
She didn't fully pass out, but she was on their way when the director called cut. And then she sort of had to sort herself out. It has been a long time. It's been a long time since we've had a memes to make you mad.
Yes.
And we have a memes to make you mad that was not even a memes to make you mad, as I took to TikTok to share my thoughts on the images of Bill Skarsgård in the new Crow movie. So I said that I think he looks good. How do you think he looks?
I think he looks fantastic. I do think he looks really cool. I understand this is a really difficult one, and it's a lot in the air at the moment with people's perceptions.
I'm not trying to drag you into my mire with me.
No. If we're sinking as a ship, I'm going to come down with you on it. Don't you worry. But it's difficult. I understand people's perceptions. Everybody's scarred by life due to the Jared Leto Joker. And immediately you can see the comparisons between the two, and I understand that. And everybody is just jumping on the bandwagon. It's like, well, Jared Leto's Joker was absolute dog shit, and he looks the same, so he's definitely going to be exactly the same as Jared Leto's Joker. I'm going to be the person to stand out here and say, I fucking thought Jared Leto's Joker was fantastic. I thought he did a fantastic job in that role. I thought he was fantastic. Yeah, he's no Jack Nicholson. He's no Heath Ledger. But what he did with the role, what was given to him.
What he was given, yeah.
I thought Jared Leto did a fantastic job in that. And I feel like he was very underappreciated by fans. And I feel like they should have given him more of a chance. And I don't feel like the movie did him justice, not his portrayal necessarily. So,
so we're pretty much on the same page here.
Yeah, definitely. Because like Jared Leto Joker was fucking great. The minimal screen time he had in that movie, he was fantastic. Jared Leto is a fantastic actor, and he was a great Joker, given the basis of the character, not basing it on previous incarnations of Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger. If you take the character of the comic books of Joker, Jared Leto did a fantastic job what he did with that character with the time that he was given to do so. The outcry from fans and comparing the two from a simple photo is just wild to me. It's like, guys, watch a fucking trailer. Watch a trailer.
Then
comments. Maybe when you've got like maybe 30 seconds of screen time, your verification of this portrayal might be more justified. But to base it on a simple photo and just have mass outcry and boycotting of a movie you've not even seen is just absolute wild to me.
And this is basically where I am with what we're saying now is pretty much what I said in that video. So I stitched another creator called Chuck, the movie guy, who's awesome. He hates it. I jumped in and basically went, how about we all just take a breath, because I think this looks fucking great. I know he's going to do a really good job. And I had about a 4-minute rant where I basically went, you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Every now and then, one of my TikTok catches a bit of traction, and it just so happens that this was the one that fucking caught. 30,000 views and 600 comments later, the comment section was wild as fuck. Like wild. I picked some of the best ones to share with you because some of these actually made me chuckle. We've got Jeff Stein 775. It's going to be awful, just like your content.
Oh, dude, fucking hell, man. You're doing a good job.
We got user 64251552. Sorry, you can't make a movie that was only made for one person. It was made for Brandon Lee.
But we have like 6 sequels. They're all fucking played by different actors.
And a TV series. It's a Yoshi. You lost me as soon as you said you support remakes.
Dude, I'm going to go out on a limb right now and tell you, honestly, the Friday the 13th remake is the best movie in the entire franchise.
Okay. I disagree with you, but that's fine. We don't need to. We don't
have to agree. But I'm just saying that remakes are validated because some of them are better than others.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if you compare the Friday the 13th remake to the original, it's a million times better.
And its sequels that follow.
We got Jeff King. It's crap and belongs in the trash. Lizzie Jean,
It's just so wild that people are making these assumptions based on a single photo that was released to a magazine. It's insane to me.
This one, Lizzie Jean, I'm disgusted. Why is my favorite movie being disrespected, and why are you talking about it?
Disgusted is such a term. That is an excessive word to use for something that you have never seen before.
Yeah.
Like, right, I know, like, this is what, do you know what blows my mind about this whole Crow thing more than anything else? Is the obsession that people have with the character of Brandon Lee's portrayal. Brandon Lee did a fantastic job. I don't want to take anything away from Brandon Lee and his portrayal within that movie. He was fucking phenomenal. That movie is a phenomenal movie and earns its place in history as respected by horror fans and emo goths across the country and across the planet. However, I would definitely love to see an alternate universe where Brandon Lee didn't die and he went on to have a fantastic career in Hollywood. How much passion people would have for this movie if it wasn't for his timely death within it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that that's one thing that I always come back to every time. It's like, are you obsessed with the movie or are you obsessed with the situation that accompanies it? And like, if that's the case, because we did the Crow about a year ago, and we had Skelly and her daughter on. It was a fantastic episode. We really dived deep into it, and I was the one person on that episode who turned around and I was like, this doesn't hold up as well as everybody thinks it does today. And I was on an island on that episode and I went in on it and I was like, I love the movie. It means a lot to me within terms of my growing up with it. It's a fantastic film and I watch it back and I live for it nostalgically. But watching it now in 2024, 2023, when we did the episode, it doesn't hold up as well as people like to think it does.
No,
it's not that great of a movie. There's a lot of problems with it. There's a lot of problems with the visuals. There's a lot of problems with the effects. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of problems with the story. And now everybody has this obsession and this passion against Bill Skarsgård taking on the role of something that's not even based on that movie. And that's what blows my mind the most out of all of this. Is everyone's like, it's not a Brandon Lee. It's not a remake. It's not a Brandon Lee copycat. It's got nothing to do with it. It's a completely separate entity. And you are all getting consumed by your hero complex to defend Brandon Lee. And it's like, fuck off, man. Like, if he had not died, you probably wouldn't even have the hero complex you all have right now to try and defend it in the way that you do. So,
no, and I agree. Do you want to hear the last one before you really
I just want my
on?
final statement, which is, get a fucking grip. You're all doing my head in. And if I have to listen to one more of you whiny little bitches moaning on Instagram about this movie, I swear to God, I'm going to delete all of my socials.
Right, last one. This one was the one that broke me, I was in tears, but with tears of laughter. This comes from Anthony Rodriguez. They should remake your big forehead instead.
I'd never thought about that, but you are a bit Ant, to be honest with you. For those American people who don't know who Ant and Dec is, Google it.
Yeah. So yeah, he hit me with that, and I replied to all of these comments, and I'm going to share my reply to Anthony Rodriguez. So he commented that. I went and had a look at his account. He is a middle-aged man from Mexico who is receding, like massively receding. Like his hair is like halfway down the middle of his head. So I replied, that would be great. I'd love a remake of my big forehead. We're currently casting. Would you be interested? And he blocked me. Anyway, let's get away.
I feel like my passion went really hard then for a reason. I don't know if it was my defense for you or if it was just my passion for the movie, but this whole thing has just consumed the internet for weeks now, and
it just created the next viral TikTok, so it's fine.
I just lost myself for a moment. I do apologize.
Do you want to round this one up first, or would you like me to take this one?
I feel like I'm going to go first this time because I feel like we're going to have very conflicting opinions about this movie, and I just want to get my issues out the way first.
I bet we don't.
No, okay. Well, hopefully not.
Sorry, please bear with us. Mark is pulling up his notes. So
I forget we don't edit our episodes anymore. I do apologize for the time I was taking.
Yeah, just bear with us. Hold on.
Would you like to know more?
Okay, now you can go.
Right. So for me, Starship Troopers this week, I'm going to start with my highlights because I thought this was a fantastic 90s creature feature-esque sci-fi hybrid. And when it comes to horror movies, one of my niches is sci-fi elements. I love that incorporation, and I also love creature features unconditionally. So combining the two, it's always like a win-win for me. Yeah. The issues I have with this movie is its overreach. it doesn't know its lane. So it has these very meta, self-aware news reports throughout, which are fantastic. And I get a little bit of a laugh throughout when I'm watching this movie, but it then kind of throws off the balance for the rest of the movie that unfolds through it. The casting's great. I like Casper. He's as far as B movie actors goes, he's probably wearing the crown for all of them. There's a lot of films I've seen him in that fall within this bracket, and I like him. I think he's great. But yeah, he is B movie gold. The practical effects are fantastic throughout. There's a lot of interjection of CGI, but again, the CGI I felt was justified and worthy, and they always try to use practical wherever possible, including miniatures and small scale stuff, similar to the Red Dwarf references that I've mentioned throughout this episode. And that stuff for me was really, really cool. I like a lot of that, and I would always take miniatures and Thunderbird-esque scaling over any computer-generated effects throughout. The bug design was really, really cool. I really liked that. And their interaction is like that spider-esque creature with the dung beetle sort of mouth. That stuff was fantastic.
Stolen by Pitch Black and used in Pitch Black. Same design
Exactly.
in there.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really incredible design. I thought everything about it was really cool. I like the plot overall. I like the development of the story and the way that it progresses. But again, something me and Scott touched on earlier on was that this feels like an introduction to something.
Yeah.
Considering the 2 hour and 10-minute runtime, it feels like it's building to something. But when you finally get to the closing act, it does feel like an introduction. You're like, right, so what's next? Where does this go? It feels like a setup with no resolution to anything. My biggest gripe to this movie, and one thing that played throughout my mind all the way through it, was the writing. We've got a 2 hour and 10-minute runtime, and the first hour of the movie is set developing characters, something that we all find attachment to. We like the characters that they're introducing. We find an attachment to them. We find a connection with them. All of them are fantastic, but then they do this very generic thing from that point on where you can pinpoint who's going to die and who's going to end up in certain situations in order for you to get this final act where Carmen and Rico are going to end up together. But by the time we get there, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that because the establishment between Rico and Dizzy is so impactful that that's the conclusion you want. That's the resolution you want for these characters. So when you
say that, I'm going to give you just cut in. Sorry, I don't mean to butt you off, but I'm going to throw in another fact that I've got that I didn't share. They cut 26 minutes of this movie of Carmen, and they cut it because when they put it in front of test audiences, they hated Carmen even more than they did when the final cut was released.
Because that's not the warranted ending to the movie that everybody wants. Because
Carmen should have died.
Carmen should have died. Carmen should have died instead of Diz, and he should have had his happy ending with her. And it just feels so fucking irregulated throughout the movie. When you get to that point and you feel this turn in the story, you're just like, no, that's not right. That's not what we've been invested in as an audience. And then you spend the rest of the movie feeling like, don't go save her. She doesn't deserve to be saved. Fucking kill that bitch. and then we get to it at the end, and you're just not invested. And they do this whole turncoat character thing with Dougie Hauser, and you're like, no, we loved him in the first hour. Like the first hour of character development in this movie is fantastic. You're invested. You want everybody, and you can kind of almost predict where this story is going to go. But when they do the whole turncoat events like they do, like, oh, we'll kill Diz, and then we'll make Dougie Hauser the villain-esque kind of character. It just doesn't work for me. I didn't like it. I didn't feel satisfied by the conclusion of this movie, and that is what lets it down for me, is the writing. But my opinion on the writing is nonchalant because this is a 90s B movie. It's a 90s B movie creature feature where you're not really supposed to care about it on the level that I've just expressed the way I have right now. You're just supposed to sit back, watch this action-fulfilled movie, and enjoy it for what it is, which I can do on a certain level. But when we're talking about a podcast and this is our job to sit here and try and dissect it, when you look at these elements, it falls apart massively. And these were the elements that kind of broke it down for me in the way that it has. So I'm going to have to go in the middle with my score. My score is based upon my enjoyment on it, which would probably rank within the 4.5 elements. But if I had to break it down based upon my overall execution of story development, character development, and execution overall, I'm going to bring it down to a 3. And that's my final score.
Okay, it's still a solid score. I'm going to start this off with the fact that I saved. So you said this is a B movie. It's a B movie and it should be treated like a B movie. How much do you think they spent on this B movie that should be treated like a B movie?
I mean, I don't know, because it's a B movie. I mean, at least that's the way it portrays. But the fact that you're asking this question makes me question the actual over. I don't know. I'm going to say 90s, 80 million.
80 or 18?
No, 80 million.
80.
Yeah, is that like a wild exaggeration? I don't know the concept of time.
Okay, this cost them $105 million to make. At the global box office, this is worldwide, it took $117 million.
Oh, that's not good.
No, this was a massive box office failure. Cost them a fortune. They lost, if you put in all the marketing and everything else with it, they lost a fortune. This movie does not get enough credit. And the reason for that is because they marketed it and they advertised it like it was a B movie. They didn't advertise this like this was $100 million blockbuster movie. Now, this is kind of treated a little bit like the redheaded stepchild of sci-fi horror. And I apologize if you're redheaded or a stepchild, but that's kind of what this is. It stands up better visually than some really well-respected sci-fi horrors. This stands up better visually than Species. It stands up better than Event Horizon. Yeah. Its effects are really, really good. The creature design in this rivals Alien and Predator. It's that good. But because of the tone they took, all of that is dismissed. No one cares. This is a B movie. And you've said it yourself. You thought this was a B movie.
I did, 100%, yeah.
As such. Starship Troopers, just like Diz, deserves better. It's got a good cast, like a really good cast. They've got some B movie actors in here, but you've got some real A-list players like Clancy, whatever his name is. Clancy.
I mean, you've even got Amy Smart, who went on to have a fantastic career, and she has like a 30-second role within this movie.
Yeah, she does. She's one of the pilots.
Yeah.
You got Michael Ironside. I mean, it's got a really, really good cast. It has some really deep political undertones that, if you know the director's work, like RoboCop and Total Recall, that's a theme he's got. It's 2 hours and 10 minutes. And honestly, I didn't check my watch once to see how far in the movie I was. I just really enjoyed the story. Like you, I haven't watched this since I was probably 17 the last time I watched this. And I was really delighted with how much I enjoyed it. I had problems with it, and they're all the same problems you had. It's writing issues and continuity issues, and where they bounce around a lot. It got on my nerves. It's a 3 out of 5 for me. I score this exactly the same as you. I really enjoy this movie, and I think it's really overlooked and underrated. It's shit on a little bit, and I don't think it should be, but it's not the best. Now, there's one thing that I forgot, which is recommended account of the week. So do you want to tee up your notes?
I do indeed. Give me 1 second.
It's that time of the week. time for Mark to recommend an account. Yay!
So this week's recommended account of the week is a podcast, something I haven't done in a while. But this is a podcast I have recently found that I think's fantastic and deserves recognition and deserves acknowledgement by the people who listen to this show. A lot of you know I'm very selective with the podcasts I listen to. I travel a lot for work.
You are. You don't even listen to this show.
I don't listen to this show. No. Who wants to listen to themselves back though? That's what's weird, man. Do you know what I mean? Like we do this and then I've spent like 2 hours in here with you tonight, 2.5 hours. I'm not then gonna go and then listen to that 2.5 hours back the day after. That's just weird.
You can tell there's only one of us who does the editing, and it is not Mark.
Yes, I don't do any involvement in that kind of thing. However, but yeah, no, like my point is I'm very, very selective of the podcasts I listen to. There's been multiple people who have approached me on Instagram and been like, hey, check out our podcast. And I usually do at least give it a try. And I'm like a couple of minutes in, I'm like, no, you can kind of tell straight away whether that's going to be for you or it's not. And 9 times out of 10, it's usually not. However, the podcast I've come across recently is Horrors Yet Unseen. This podcast is really, really cool. I like the guys involved. The 2 guys, it's called Zach and Steve. Zach is the one person who reached out to me on Instagram, and we've been speaking back and forth fairly recently. He reached out to me on my VHS page and was like, hey, yeah, check out my podcast. Yeah. By the way, he's American.
Okay.
I don't know how well that accent translated, just what I did just then. But he's an American guy, and he's like, yeah, check out our podcast. General sort of back and forth social media broadcasting stuff. And I was like, oh, that's cheers, man. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a go. The generic kind of bullshit you usually have to deal with on social media to appease people who reach out to you. And I was like, I'll try. I did try. And I thought this was a fantastic podcast. These guys have just set out. I also dropped him the name bomb that we are the You Run podcast. He had no idea who we were. And he's gone and now listened to our episodes and he thinks we're great too. And he's now making his way through our back catalogue. Don't know whether his co-host is. Steve is someone I've not yet spoke to. However, Zach's a really, really cool dude. I've spoken to him numerous times over the past few days. They're just setting out, which is why I think this is a perfect opportunity for our listeners to then go and migrate over to them and kind of check out the stuff that they're working for. They don't necessarily know where they're going with the podcast yet, which is great because they showcase that on their episodes. They're like, we're 2 dudes. We have a lot in common. We love talking about horror. We like to watch horror movies, but they're basically you and me. They're like,
okay,
my wife doesn't want to watch horror with me anymore, so I need somebody to talk to about it.
So I need a stranger on the internet.
So they've created a podcast. And that's pretty much it. But the way that's unique about their podcast is the fact that they pick the title gives it away. It's Horrors Yet Unseen. So they'll pick a movie for their co-host who hasn't seen that horror movie, and then the co-host will then pick a horror movie for that co-host who hasn't seen that horror movie. So they do double bills on their episodes. So it's 2 episodes, not 2 episodes.
2 movies.
2 movies per episode. And they'll dissect them, they'll talk about them, and they'll at the end of the episode they'll then recommend a movie for each other for the following week. And these guys are great. They're very insightful. The dynamic between the 2 of them, the back and forth between the 2 of them is really, really cool. And I find that they're a very investable duo. And I think a lot of you who listen to our show would gain a lot of benefit from listening to them. If you like what we do here, you now have the American version of me and Scott. So you can go and cross over to those and listen to that. And I think you would get a lot of benefit from them. And as I mentioned earlier, they're very early on in the stage. They're only 5 episodes in as the time of recording this episode. And you can go back, listen to those, get caught up, find out who they are, well established, and you're not going to be left behind by a swarm of 200-300 episodes to have to try and backlog through to understand who
Okay.
they are, which is something that I feel is very important with a podcast. If you catch it too late in the day, where they're like 300 episodes in, and you just get into that podcast and you're like, I don't know who anybody is. I don't know the in jokes that you're kind of portraying between the two of you, or the three of you, or the four of you. And it's
I'm a
like,
podcast binger though, so like I picked up a podcast that was like 400 plus episodes in. I have now caught up. I listen to.
could you really do that, dude, man? That's
Well, I have.
fucking intense.
I have. Like I listen to, like, I don't think people realize this. I listen to a lot of podcasts. With my job, I sit here with headphones on during the day, and I will listen to podcasts from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night, 5 days a week. So I consume so much podcast information, and so many different podcasts varying from people in our network to people outside our network. I listen to hundreds of hours of podcasts a week, every week.
I mean, I do too, but like I work from like 8 till 5, and I don't listen to like music and stuff. So I listen to podcasts throughout the day. But I'll find a podcast that's within my needs, and I'll just kind of work through their back catalogue. But 400 episodes is a fucking feat, man.
Took me a while. Took me a long time, but that's all I listened to for like 5 weeks to catch up. And the thing is, I got back to a certain point, and like all the hosts changed. I was like, what the fuck is this? Who is this guy? Who are you? And like midway through, they had like a crisis within the show, and 2 people got booted off. And like the next episode was like they never mentioned it, and they never talk about it.
I wonder if we'll have a crisis like that.
Well,
Mark's no longer here. Mark is dead to me.
Well, the thing is, they didn't address it. So like it's like episode 100 and something. You've got 3 hosts. Episode 302, you have 3 hosts, but 2 of them are different. But like it happened over the course of a week, and they don't address it till like episode 280, where they actually explain what happens. Like 2 and a bit years later, they actually tell you the story of what happened. Which there's part of me that's like, I wonder what happened. I need to listen to next week. And I was like that
It's
for
an
like
investment. Maybe we should create some sort of like Love Island drama on this show just to keep people tuned in.
No, the last time we had Love Island drama, I ended up watching Halloween 4. We're not doing that.
Oh,
again.
we did do the whole Halloween 4.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we had the Deep Blue Sea thing, which went on for a while. We
Yeah,
haven't had drama for a while, actually.
No, and I'm happy with no drama. Anyway,
we are right. Hold up. Let me round up with my recommended account of the week. So please, everybody, go and follow Horror Yet Unseen. I really like these dudes. They're great guys, and I really want them to do well. They're very early on in their podcast, and I feel like a lot of people who listen to our show would really relate to a lot of the content that they're producing. So please go and check them out. Show them some support. And as always, let them know that the You Run podcast sent you. Let them know that we've sent you to their channel, and that they're growing in numbers because of our involvement. That would really help us out. It also helps them out, and we can all just grow massively, which is the whole end game of this whole thing.
It is. That's it for another week. Starship horror movie review is going to go off the air now. Thank you very much for listening. A huge thank you from us to everyone who listens each week. Like it genuinely means a lot, and I don't say it very often, but it really does. We will catch you next week. I have no idea what we're doing. We're doing 70s week, currently being polled now. I've got a good idea what it's going to be, but I'm not going to.
I'm going to say I know what we're doing next week.
It was a fucking landslide, but there's still time. There's still time for that other 70s movie to pull it back.
I doubt it very much.
I seriously, like as soon as I put it out, I even put on the post, this is going to be a landslide, and it was pretty much unanimous voting.
Even from like the early doors, obviously your voting process throughout the podcast goes on, and you have like at least 5 different polls.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, okay, we're doing that.
Yeah. Like literally as soon as I put it out, I could have gone, I'll make the cover art now. I'll sit down and watch it. But I've done that before and been caught out, so I didn't.
Yeah. I'm excited to do it. Even though like this is wild that we're talking about it because it hasn't been decided yet, but I'm just in my mind, this is what we're doing. I'm excited to talk about this movie. For a lot of reasons.
that's a tease for next week. And to throw an extra tease in there, I have a strong dislike for anything within this subgenre. And this is one of the movies I take the most exception with out of the entire subgenre. So next week, me and Mark are going to fall out.
Don't come at me, dude, next week. I mean it. Don't come at me because I idolize this movie.
Anyway, until then, night fever, night fever. We know how to move it. Right, see you all next week.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
Hey, everyone.
The You Run Podcast.
The You Run Podcast.
You want to die tonight?
Scott, I think you know who the fuck this is that's talking.
Cancel Mark. I was terribly offended.
Because after all, this is not our show, this is your show.